Two Point Hospital carries the burden of being considered the spiritual successor of Team Hospital, but where many would otherwise tremble, this game did not. As a result, this ended up being a magnificent game. In Two Point Hospital, you will have to manage several hospitals and heal a panoply of crazy diseases with treatments that will make you laugh the first time you see them. This is one of the best parts of the game, but after the initial smile, each illness becomes a number and a profit perspective that you can or cannot make. The game bypasses this by introducing new diseases to each hospital just to keep some surprise during the gameplay. It's a graphically competent game, which I imagine will surprise you with the level of detail of each character, cabinet or item. It's a very well crafted and polished game, although I've picked up some glitches from the employees' IDs, which I've just noticed by accident, and they do not interfere minimally with the game itself. With some well-known songs to keep the environment on a positive mood, but as we end up invariably playing for long sessions, they quickly become repetitive. A few more would do no harm, although in this game I believe they would only mitigate the feeling, not make it disappear. The management component focuses essentially in two aspects: space management and management of skills of your employees. Although the game will present you with more demanding goals at each level, this difference is somewhat illusory, and depends essentially on the time you take to achieve the objectives, because after you realize and establish the core of each hospital, everything goes on autopilot, and it becomes a matter of just continuing to expand the unit in the specialties that will have more patients, and prevent eventual bottlenecks in treatments. Briefly, this is the gameplay loop. Identify the specific needs of each hospital, fill them, and build upon that basis. Do not think, though, that this is a piece of cake, because it takes tons of effort to keep everything running smoothly. In a hospital that was giving me more trouble than usual, at that moment that I finally managed to control everything and thought that now, at that point, I could calm down a little bit, 30 seconds later I had to be covering the next hole, and so on and so on and so on. So, to be able to breathe a little bit in this game, just pause it. Each hospital is going to be a bit harder to manage than the previous one, with the previous one giving you the tools so you do not feel lost in the next one. It's a very interesting system of constant learning. At the same time as you are achieving goals in new hospitals, you are unlocking tools that will help you get a better rating in the previous one. Yes, the game has a backtrack component. All the hospitals of your organization remain paused at any given moment, with just advancing in time the hospital that you are currently controlling. And is it worth returning to the previous hospital? Yes, as you achieve goals, you earn points that allow you to buy items that help increase the reputation of all hospitals. That's what I say, the loop is very well thought out. My hospitals were all growing up as I unlocked the following one. Although it is a very polished game, I noticed that not always the NPCs could find the doors to enter rooms without apparently something block them. Increasing the corridor space seems to have been the solution to this bug, but they already had more than enough room to pass to begin with. The longevity of the game is difficult to quantify. After the initial enthusiasm, I admit that after 10 gameplay hours, I started to think that the game was repetitive, but at the same time I was embarking on a session of another 3 hours, in which I forced myself to stop since it was 5 in the morning. I loved this game. I loved the funny diseases, the funny treatments and funny voiceover, the humor that you see that is not forced whatsoever, where everything seems to fit in this game environment. Everything seems made with love. I like to remove animals from people with magnets, I like to unscrew bulb heads, I like painting people, I like to cure clownliness. It's a bit of a laughter that makes you forget that underneath this skin you will find a great simulation game, in which you are able to lose hours upon hours without even realizing it. Recommended.